score. I have to question, is having 3 martinis too much? Well, if you ask the question, that means it's probably too much.
Hello, everybody, once again to Yes, I'm Still Sober podcast with John Rabin. Episode 25. Hope everybody's doing well. Are you? Are you doing well? I'm okay. Just wanted to let you know, for those of you living in the Austin area, I am going to be headlining one of my favorite shows called Sure Thing, which is going to be at Fallout Theater on Friday. Yes, that's the day. The 21st. On Friday the 21st, 9:30. It's my favorite place to perform is the Velveeta Room. That's my club. But outside of that, my favorite show to do is Sure Thing, run by Duncan Carson and Brendan K. O'Grady. It really is about, if you've ever seen Punch at Cap City Comedy Club or Sure Thing, there's really something to be said about booking the comics. Maybe don't where you book quality, you don't book friends, you don't trade bookings with other comedians so that you can do their show. You compromise the quality of your show. There's really something to be said when you have a brand. I know, I hate using that word, but it is a word. Brand. It's something when you consistently have good shows and you're booking people that are funny. I mean, it just builds it, and it just the reputation, just unquestionable. Especially with Sure Thing. So I'm really happy to be doing that. So if you're off, but you haven't left the city, or maybe you're listening to this and you're visiting Austin, do you see how hard it is for me to promote? It's like painful. It's like, hey, everybody, come see me do comedy. It's just, all right, you get it. But that was still just like, promote myself. Marketing. Gross. An update on my hatred for scooters. I wanted to, as they infest city after city, and we've been dealing with them for a while. There are 4 companies now, everybody. I'm saving my money for locally sourced scooting. I want an Austin-based scooter company is there one? How is there not one? And I bet if there's not one, they're working on it right now. And they're going to try to guilt trip everybody. If you're going to ride a scooter, make sure it's local. Support local businesses. Be a dipshit on a local scooter. So I finally reached the final stage of grief. The acceptance part. So I've accepted that scooters are a thing. I just wanted to let everybody know I've accepted that it's a thing. I just only demand 2 things. Just one, there needs to be a spot where the fucking scooters go. Like there should be a city ordinance to keep them being littered everywhere, that you actually have a section where you can park your dumb scooter, and if they don't park it, then those companies can charge them. And number 2, keep them off the sidewalk, you cowards. If you're an idiot enough to ride one of these, you got to ride it in the street. You got to do it. And I know you're saying, yeah, but not on Riverside. Find alternate routes. Don't ride on the main roads. It's like a bicycle. How do people not think of it like a bicycle? Same rules apply. Same, you stay in your lane. I don't know how they don't connect those two. They're also very dangerous. People consistently getting hurt, which I enjoy. I think that's great. Anything that can teach people a lesson. Cause and effect. Maybe wear a helmet. You can't not wear a helmet. I would love to hear the argument about why not, maybe not carrying. It's hard to carry around a helmet everywhere you go. I get that. But the idea that, now I don't want to wear a helmet while I ride a scooter. I'm going to look dumb. You're already there. Don't half-ass be a dumbass. Man, just full commit. Know how to commit to looking dumb. Anyway, keep it off the sidewalk. I'm walking here. So that's all there is for that. So what I would like to do now, I had a friendly acquaintance of mine, not a friend. I don't have any way to contact this person. I don't have not on their Facebook. I don't have their phone number. So I consider that an acquaintance. I had a brief conversation with this acquaintance who they said that they had a problem with drinking, and they were just kind of asking me. They just kind of like it was sort of a in passing kind of, how long have you been sober? And just and they had a hesitation about, they want help, but they had a hesitation about going to AA, which is fairly common. So I didn't have time to really sit there and just let's get into it. So I thought I would do that here. That seems appropriate. That seems related. And if I could do that, and, I'll probably be repeating some things that I've said over the past 24 episodes somewhere along the line. My memory's shit. So and to be honest, I barely remember what I say on this thing after I cut the mic off. Like when I'm uploading the shit and then I have to type in the description of what I talked about, I have to actually sit there and go, what the fuck did I just say for the last 30 minutes? Like it's an issue. Or is it? Doesn't matter. So I thought I would essentially go into what I wanted to talk about with them. And what I'm going to really do is next time I see them, I'm going to be like, I have a podcast episode specifically for you. But I also wanted to have it just available just in case somebody else who's listening had that same kind of question. What's the deal with AA? All right. So, as my faithful listeners will know, I did not use AA to get sober at the end, finally. I did go to meetings. I've been to many, many meetings. A lot of them were court appointed. Most of them, actually. There were some meetings that I went to because I wanted to. I still had them sign my card so that it counted as credit when I was on probation. But so I've been to a lot of AA meetings. I've been to NA meetings, Narcotics Anonymous, and so there's two things that there's a few things. Let me not do bullet points, but in order. But there's several things that people are apprehensive about when it comes to AA. The big one, of course, is God. They don't, it bugs them that it's a religious thing, which it's not really. It really isn't. It's more just it's outdated. As I've said before, it's 80 years old, man. It's it's a little dated. But the idea is this, because there's no it's vague. God. It's vague. It's not There's not a theology behind it, really. It's, they don't do anything. There's no profiting. AA doesn't make a profit off of donations. Everything goes into the meetings. It's just kind of there's no hierarchy. Nobody's in charge. And there's no theology to it. There's no any kind of following, it's its own principles, not, do this. Now, that being said, obviously there's aspects to it that are very like, really? Because the principles are designed, if you read them too much, you kind of feel like if something doesn't work for you, the principles are infallible. It's totally you. But the thing about that is that it's not, that doesn't change the fact that it doesn't work for you. Right? Like it's guilting you into, well, you're not trying hard enough or you're not doing it right if it doesn't work. Well, that's anything. But that still doesn't change the fact that it's not working for you. So the whole concept, the whole idea with God being in there, or a higher power, they say. The idea of a higher power is something outside of yourself. Because the idea is that you trying to get sober on your own is not fucking working. You need help. You're looking for help. You need to get outside of yourself. It's not all about you. That's really the big issue. So you look for a higher power, and the real higher power is the community that you're taking part of, that's supporting you. That's bigger than you. So if you're letting the God thing trip you up, that's in your own head. Of course, everything's in your head. The addiction is in your head. It's your disorder. You can't, and that's really the issue of why I found alternate routes and developed my own thing versus doing 12-step, because I had already convinced myself that I was too smart for it, and so it wasn't going to work. And because I had already convinced myself, it didn't work. So it took me, getting locked up and doing other things. But so that's what you have to, being hesitant about it is fine, but just realize, there is a point there that if it's not working for you, you're doing it. You have to convince yourself that it will work when you've had enough, and that, because the big issue with AA is not what people think. People think that the big issue is the God thing, or maybe it's the making amends thing. That was always a problem I had. I'm like, I always found it disingenuous to make amends, because that was the step. Sorry, I'm on the step, so I wanted to say I'm sorry, instead of saying you're sorry because you felt bad. Like, that's when you should make amends to somebody, is not to achieve a number goal. Like, that's step 9. You do it because you need to repair the relationship with that person. Of course, a lot of the times, just you getting better is enough. Unless we're talking about a, financial or some other thing. But, so that's always been kind of the thing. But the problem really with AA doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with the people in it. And hang on for a second. Let me do this. All right. Had to pause the thing. We're back. So yeah, the people in it. And it's always been such an issue that one of the mottos in AA is principles over personalities. Because, which you can really say about anything. It's like, I love my country, but not the people in it. But it's really what I think of it, and this goes, but it's a good analogy though, with dealing with like if you're religious, take your faith and churches in that faith. Now, I know I just said that it's not I just went, forget the God thing. But for this analogy, think of it. So let's say, so you have your faith, right? But it's going to depend on the church. You're not going to go to any church in your faith. You go and you pick the one that you like and you feel comfortable in. This is the one I want to go to worship in. This is the one I'm going to go to every Sunday. So it's the same kind of thing with AA. Because you'll have people that they're like, man, I went to one AA meeting and it just sucked. And I'm just never going to go back. Well, don't go back to that one. That's the thing, is that they are different. There are there are atheist AA meetings. You have to, Google. Use Google, for God's sakes. It exists. It depends on, obviously there may not be a whole lot of atheist AA meetings in Corsicana, Texas, but like there's meetings in big cities. You should check them out. You look around, because typically you want to kind of find a place that has people your own age, or just somebody you can relate to more. You walk in. So you're a heavily tattooed gentleman, and you walk into a meeting, and it's nothing but senior citizens. Yeah, you're probably not going to like it much. You want to look for one that the vibe is good, and it does take some time. You might luck out early on, but sometimes it takes time to kind of go through. When you look online for meetings in your area, it does take some time to kind of go through them. But this is something that you want to do. You want to get sober, so you're going to have to actually put forth the effort and check some of them out. Because I found a meeting. There's a meeting here in Austin, and at the time, which was 13 years ago or 12 years ago when I first went, it was I think the meeting was actually called Bolden, but it was in South Austin, or Central South, whatever it is now. And it was a lot of like old rockers. Like, it was a lot of people either still in bands or used to be in bands, lots of sleeve tattoos back when it wasn't, funded by parents. It was actually guys who really did it, and it was men and women, and it was and it had a better vibe. So I liked that meeting at the time. So yeah, you've got to look. It's the same thing, It's the same, it's just like church. People don't go look at one church and then go, well, I didn't like that church. I guess I'm never going to go again. My faith is dead. And that's the thing about this program, is faith works. It really does, if you think about it. Even, let's say you don't believe in God, but the thing about it is that you have to notice, as an atheist, you have to notice that religious people, a lot of them are happy. And they're happy because they're not overthinking shit, because they totally committed to this thing. I wish I could do that sometimes. It works. Because you've convinced yourself. And that's what you have to do with a recovery program. You have to have faith in it. You can't go through the motions. I know they say, that's another saying, some of them, just fake it until you make it. Fake it until you believe it, or you won't make it. That's really what it is. You can't half-ass it. You're not going to last. So here's just some quick couple things, in my opinion, that are what do you look for? How do you know that it's a good meeting, that it's a good place to keep coming back, a location or whatever? Don't necessarily judge by vision. Don't, just because there are old people there, don't think, because you don't know what kind of old people they are. Don't be ageist. I'm ageist. But don't judge a book by its cover. You can tell by when you're sitting in the meeting listening to people. If they're, if there's a high volume of judgy people, you want to avoid that. You want to avoid if there's a lot of braggarts, there's a lot of bragging motherfuckers, that can definitely be a turnoff, because it's weird how that is, because it's kind of a sign of either they're not doing very well, they're still an addict, but now for attention, or this is all they have. They've replaced their addiction with an addiction to AA, so it's a matter of, well, I'm the worst alcoholic. I'm the worst junkie. And you can hear them. You'll hear people go, my drug of choice was more. And nothing makes me more irritated in a meeting than when somebody says that. It's like, oh, really? More? The idea of a choice is you have a platter, it's got every drug on it, and they're like, what would you like? You're not going to go, more, please. You're going to grab the one that you like. Well, the one that you grabbed, that's your drug of choice, jackass. My drug of choice? Heroin. Pretty clear. But you were also addicted to alcohol. Yeah, but heroin. If you had whiskey and heroin on a platter and went, choose one, I'm going to pick the heroin. So, yeah, drug of choice. The other thing is you're going to, if you're going to actually do the program, some people just go to meetings on occasion to kind of get them set, and that might be enough. But if you're going to actually do the program, you're going to get a sponsor. A sponsor is basically somebody that gives you homework assignments and keeps you accountable and all this shit. And don't pick somebody you could fuck or who wants to fuck you. Like, don't, they used to say, men shouldn't be sponsors to women. Well, you could if the woman's a lesbian. Like, it's, don't pick somebody that's dateable. And also realize that, like everywhere else, 12-step programs have lots of predators in it. People, you're at your weakest moment. Don't date somebody in the program, in your program. At least not right away. People say wait a year. That's actually really a really good idea. You should really, really wait. Because there's nothing worse than two people at their weakest moment getting together. All of a sudden you're codependent as fuck, and it's not in a healthy way. Also, there's people that take advantage of you at your weakest moment and will use you. They may not, maybe they don't mean to. Maybe they're not intentionally wanting to use you, but they will. So stay out of that. Just don't worry about, I'm alone. This'll help. It won't. It does not. And I definitely have that experience. So just with getting in a relationship in your first year of sobriety, it fucking sucks. I wouldn't do it. Maybe it'll work for you. It won't, but maybe it'll work for you. So, but that's what I wanted to tell that person. It was just, obviously, it's been about 20 minutes worth of shit. So hopefully I'll see them again and I can go, here's the deal with AA, and you can check that out. Thanks for joining me this week. That's really all I wanted to cover. I hope it was sort of helpful. Have a good rest of your week. Get your Christmas shopping done or don't? Maybe you could put it off. I just did mine today. And you know what? I feel good about it. This has been Yes, I'm Still Sober. I'm John Raven. I'll see you next week.
Red wine, a little smoke, a whole lot of loving. That's all I need. Make it through the night. Cold beer, cold shoulder, just one glass of whiskey. That's all it takes. Push me over the line. Set 'em up, I'll knock 'em down. Wake me up when it's all over. Took less than that to make my heart